The tension in the room is thick, nearly suffocating. I watch Sophia, her smile wide, as she spins in front of the mirror, the silk gown falling perfectly around her. She's glowing, every inch the perfect bride, at least in everyone's eyes. But I see the cracks beneath her facade, the way she constantly demands attention, the way everything she does feels effortless, while I've had to claw and fight for every single inch. I swallow the bitter taste in my mouth, the ache of years of being overshadowed, of feeling invisible in my own family. The weight of the success I've built with my own hands presses down on me as I stand in the cramped dressing room, trapped between my sister's perfection and my own quiet accomplishments. "You're so lucky," she says, turning to me with that insincere sweetness. "I mean, I could never work as hard as you. I'd get so bored." My hand clenches around the fabric of my blouse, but I force a smile, the kind I've perfected over years of smiling through gritted teeth. "I guess some of us have to," I reply, my voice steady but the fire burning in my chest. Her laughter is light, carefree, while my fingers dig into my palm, grounding me. This isn't about luck. This is about every sleepless night I've spent building my life from the ground up, about every dollar earned, every step forward while she danced in the spotlight. She's always had the upper hand, hasn't she? Her world handed to her on a silver platter while I fought for every inch. But I'm done being invisible, done being the second choice. The doorbell rings, interrupting my thoughts. My heart races as the sound echoes through my apartment. They're here. It's time to face them, time to show them who I really am. I smooth my blouse, take one last look at my apartment, the one I worked for, built with my own two hands, and open the door. There's my mother, her disapproving eyes scanning my place like she's looking for something to criticize. "Claire, darling." She air kisses the air next to my cheek, her perfume like a cloud of judgment. And there's Dad, already checking his phone. I catch the dismissive glance from both of them, their subtle remarks about how everything in my apartment could be better. And then there's Sophia, her designer sunglasses perched just right on her head, her phone already poised for the perfect selfie. She looks around, gives a cursory glance, and judges, of course. "It's cute," she says, though her voice makes it clear she means it's smaller than expected. I stand silently, biting back the defense I want to throw out, but then I offer a simple truth. It's 2 bedrooms, perfect for me. I lead them through the apartment, pointing out the things I worked for, the details I spent hours negotiating and organizing. "The south-facing windows bring in natural light all day," I say, trying to sound casual, even as the anxiety tightens in my chest. "And I got a great deal on the appliances." Dad barely listens, absorbed in his phone. "Did you see my latest post? It got 5,000 likes." And before I can even reply, Sophia's shoving her phone at my parents, proudly displaying her influencer success. Their attention shifts to her, as always. I stand there forgotten, while Sophia's success is lauded. The moment I've worked so hard for, my promotion to senior manager, my progress, my accomplishments, are ignored. My parents praise Sophia's future, while I'm left with nothing but hollow approval for the hard work I've done, a backhanded compliment at best. Later, as I pull into the dealership, the weight of the victory I'd earned with months of sacrifice presses into my chest. I've earned this. This car, my car, was a symbol of everything I'd built. My hands shake slightly as I run my fingers along the sleek exterior, my heart racing in a way it hadn't before. When I pull into my parents' driveway later that week, my car parked proudly, I feel the sting of their indifference. "Nice car," Dad says, barely looking up. Sophia circles it, her eyes unfazed. "Why work so hard? I'll just find a rich husband," she says casually, as if her careless words don't sting. My parents laugh. Of course they do. "That's our girl," Mom coos, as if Sophia's plan was brilliant, effortless. I stand beside the car, the keys burning in my hand, forcing a smile that feels too tight. They don't see me. They never have. But that's fine, because I've learned. The world won't hand me anything, but I'll be damned if I let them ignore what I'm capable of. Sophia twirls in her $25,000 wedding gown, flaunting every inch of the life I'm supposed to envy. But I'm not jealous anymore. I've earned my place, and one day they'll realize I'm not just second best. When the time comes, I'll be standing on top, and they'll be looking up at me. Karma, after all, has a way of catching up, and when it does, it'll hit harder than any of them expect. I press the phone tighter to my ear, the silence between us stretching far too long. The blood hums in my ears, the quiet burn of years of being overshadowed, of being the responsible one, the one who always stepped aside, but not anymore. No, I say firmly, the word ringing out, powerful in its finality. I won't be the one who gives up everything for Sophia, not this time. Not when I've worked so damn hard. What? My mother's voice crackles with disbelief. I can almost see her sitting there, wringing her hands in the way she does when things don't go her way. Claire, you can't be serious. She needs this. She doesn't need it, Mom. I cut her off, my words sharp, cutting through her excuses. I've earned it. This is my achievement, not hers. I worked hard for everything I have while she's been handed everything. And now that it's all falling apart, you want me to bail her out? The silence on the other end is deafening, but it's the silence of realization. They thought I'd buckle, that I'd fall in line. They thought I'd be the one to sacrifice for the spoiled princess. But they were wrong. I shift my weight, standing taller, my grip on the phone steady. I'm going on this trip. I won this. Not her. She needs to learn that the world doesn't owe her everything just because she's pretty and well-connected. Maybe if she put as much effort into her life as she does her Instagram posts, she wouldn't be sitting in her room right now crying over a broken marriage. Her response is a weak protest, but I'm done. Done with playing second fiddle, with being invisible to them. You're making a mistake, Claire, she says, her voice low. You're being selfish. No, Mom. I'm finally being honest with myself. For once, I'm doing something for me. And with that, I hang up. It's like a weight has been lifted, and for the first time in years, I feel something I haven't felt in too long. Power. The truth is, I don't need their approval. I don't need anyone's validation anymore. I've worked for everything. I've fought tooth and nail for every success, and now, when it's my time to shine, they want me to step aside again? Not happening. Sophia's world is crumbling, and she'll have to pick up the pieces on her own. Maybe this time, she'll realize that a pretty face and a social media following don't protect you from the consequences of living a life built on other people's sacrifices. I take a deep breath, letting the feeling of satisfaction wash over me. This is my moment. Finally. And for the first time, I know I will never let them push me aside again. The fury builds in my chest, but I stay calm. I've earned this. I repeat the words like a mantra, even though my parents' disapproval weighs on my shoulders. Claire Elizabeth Morgan, my father growls, we're disappointed in you after everything we've done. My patience snaps. What exactly have you done? I demand, my voice cutting through the tension. When have you ever celebrated my achievements the way you throw a parade for Sophia? When did I ever get anything just for me? I know the words are out before I can stop them, but it feels so damn good to say them. I hear Sophia's voice in the background, high-pitched and entitled. Are you serious? You've always had everything. You have a job. You have an apartment. I have nothing. You have everything because you've never had to work for a thing, I shoot back, my calmness surprising even me. I earned my job. I earned this trip. I worked for every bit of it. But Dad doesn't listen. We raised you to care about family, he says, voice thick with disappointment. I do care about family, I reply, barely holding back, but I also care about myself. Click. The call ends, and I'm standing there in the kitchen, no longer the invisible sister, no longer the one who fades into the background. I stand taller now, my back straighter than it's ever been, as I look at my reflection in the window. The woman I see is someone I've never really met, until now. That night, I book my flight to Europe, and I don't look back. The sun hits my face as I step into Tuscany, the warmth seeping into my skin. No one knows Claire here. No one cares about my sister's Instagram or my parents' endless comparisons. For 3 weeks, I'm free. No judgment, no expectations. Just me, my camera, and the open road. I soak up the culture, my questions valued by the hiking guides, my skills praised by local artists. In my travel journal, the words flow easily. I'm worthy. For the first time in my life, I'm seen. On my last night, I raise a glass to building a life on my own terms. The words taste like freedom, like all the possibilities I've been denied for so long. I return home, eager for the quiet and my own space. But the second I step through the door, something feels off. The scent of expensive perfume stings my nose, mingled with something sour I can't place. The entryway, meticulously organized just weeks ago, is in chaos. Sophia's chaos. Her designer shoes are scattered across the floor. An overpriced blouse drapes carelessly over my sofa. What the hell? I mutter. What are you doing in my apartment? She looks up, barely glancing at me as she scrolls on her phone, wrapped in my robe. Oh, you're back already? A chill runs through me. What are you doing here? Mom and Dad gave me a key. I needed somewhere to stay, she says without skipping a beat, as if she belongs here. The phone on my counter crackles to life, Mom's voice dripping with that patronizing tone. Claire, don't make a fuss. Your sister needs a place. Your apartment was sitting empty. My apartment wasn't sitting empty, I snap, my pulse pounding. I was on a trip I earned. You should have given that to her? You should have, Dad's voice interrupts, and I can practically hear him shaking his head. She needs it more than you. The weight of their words crushes me, but my mind's already racing. Where's all my stuff? I demand, my gaze sweeping the apartment. The familiar photos are displaced, my things moved around, all to make room for Sophia's clutter. Sophia, completely oblivious, examines her nails. Oh, it's in your bedroom, she says carelessly. I just moved some things around, no big deal. My heart skips a beat. My car, I mutter, already reaching for my keys. If she's moved everything, God knows what she's done to that. I storm out of my own apartment, ignoring her eye roll, my parents' voices calling after me. I'm done. No more second place. This ends now. The elevator feels like it's moving in slow motion. My hands tremble as I jab the button for the parking garage, my heart racing faster than the ride.
When the doors finally open, my stomach drops. The space where my SUV should be, 247, the spot I've parked in for 2 years, is empty. A cold rush of dread floods my veins. I don't even wait to get upstairs. I dial my parents as I pace the concrete floor. Where's my car? I demand when my father answers, trying to keep my voice steady but failing. Now, Claire, don't overreact, he says. That same patronizing tone, the one that's haunted me since I was a kid, the one that always justified Sophia's favoritism. Where is my car? I snap again, my voice growing sharper with each word, my shoes clicking aggressively against the cold, hard concrete. We sold it, he says flatly. Sophia needed money to get back on her feet. My world tilts. You sold my car? You had no right to. It was just a car, Claire. My mother cuts in, her voice cold. Family is more important. Sophia needs us right now. I can barely breathe. It was my car, I whisper, my voice rising in a mixture of anger and disbelief. I paid for it. My name is on the title. We'll discuss this when you've calmed down, my father snaps before hanging up. I stand there in the empty garage, my phone buzzing in my hand, the weight of betrayal crashing down on me. The stairs back to my apartment feel like a prison. When I get inside, I find Sophia lounging on my couch, scrolling through her phone like nothing's wrong. Where's the money for my car? I demand. She doesn't even look up. I needed things, she mutters, her eyes fixed on her screen. Then I see it. A bank statement on the counter, a $25,000 withdrawal, designer receipts, a spa membership card, Sophia's name printed boldly. Everything clicks. My SUV, my hard work, my independence, was sold to fund her healing. The front door opens. My parents march in without knocking like they own the place. You're being dramatic, my father dismisses, waving a hand. You can buy another car. You've got a good job. You stole from me, I say, my voice unnervingly calm. You sold property that wasn't yours to sell. Family shares everything. Why are you so selfish? My mother asks, her tone dripping with judgment. That word, selfish, the one they've used against me since I was a child, every time I wanted something for myself. But today it doesn't sting. It fuels me. I take a step toward the door. Get out, all of you, now. Sophia's face twists into a fake show of outrage. After everything we've done for you? She sobs, her tears as plastic as her personality. I deserve this. I'm done. That ends today. My voice is sharp as ice. I open the door, arm rigid. Leave, or I'll call the police and report my car stolen. Sophia's gasp is all the confirmation I need. You wouldn't, she stammers. Oh, I would, I say coldly. And I am. When they finally leave, my fingers slide the deadbolt with a satisfying click. For the first time in my life, the sound doesn't keep others out. It keeps me in. Later, I slide a manila folder across the polished desk. The attorney raises an eyebrow, flipping through the documents I've meticulously assembled. Her eyes narrow as she examines the car title. They had no legal right to sell property in your name, she says, her voice firm. This is theft. I don't even flinch. The anger is still there, but it's controlled, calculated. I'm prepared now. Ms. Caldwell, I say quietly, I want everything documented, every penny. She looks up, impressed. You've kept receipts for years? Since I was 16, I answer flatly. Every loan they turned into a gift for Sophia. She taps her pen against the pages, her respect evident. Most clients come in with scattered receipts. You've brought me a case file that would make a paralegal jealous. I don't respond. Preparation has always been my armor. When she holds up the car title, the highlighter mark across the paper shines like a damning mark. They never thought you'd fight back. No, I agree, my finger tracing the edge of the desk. They still don't. Back home, I add another document to the growing file. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. The weight of the folder is heavier than usual as I set it down on the polished desk. My hands tremble only slightly as I slide out the first piece of evidence. A printout of Sophia's Instagram post, time-stamped 3 days after they sold my car. She's lounging at a luxury spa, her face radiant, the caption smug in its simplicity. Self-care is investing in yourself. The hashtags mock me, number healing, treat yourself, deserving. I drop the screenshot of the text messages from my father beside it. We did what was necessary for Sophia. The car was just sitting there while you were gallivanting in Europe. My mother's voice echoes in the back of my mind. Family shares. They've always used those words against me. Selfish. Whenever I tried to claim even the smallest piece of what I had earned. But now, I have the truth. The car wasn't just the beginning. It's a pattern. The emergency money they needed when I was 24. It went to Sophia's destination birthday party. The temporary housing they needed in my apartment. It stretched into months, while I was left to make space for their latest indulgence. I shut the folder with a decisive snap and place it carefully into my briefcase. Tomorrow, they learn what it feels like to face the consequences. The sheriff arrives promptly. I stand in the center of my living room, arms crossed, as he knocks. Sophia opens the door, her expression morphing from annoyance to confusion in seconds. Sophia Morgan, the sheriff asks. She fumbles, not sure if she's been caught in a trap or if it's just another one of her games. Yes? I'm serving you with an eviction notice. You have 72 hours to vacate these premises. She snatches the paper from him, her eyes flashing anger as she scans it. Then she glares at me over his shoulder. You wouldn't. I don't flinch. I already have. The sheriff leaves and the real drama begins. "You vindictive bitch," she spits, the venom in her voice familiar. "Mom and Dad they'll what?" I cut her off, my voice unshaken, cold. "Sell another one of my possessions without permission?" Her tantrum starts to rise, but the room is no longer a stage for her drama. I grab her designer purse from the coffee table, holding it out with a tight smile. "You might want to start packing." 3 days later, I stand in the doorway, arms crossed again, as Sophia drags her overstuffed suitcases across my hardwood floors. The sheriff waits by the elevator, a silent witness to her final moments of entitlement. "This is ridiculous," she huffs, struggling with a designer bag she's too used to stuffing with the latest impulse buys. "Where am I supposed to go?" "That's not my problem," I say, my voice calm but firm, unburdened. Sophia pauses, mascara smudged, trying to look the part of the victim. "Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this." "I'm not asking for forgiveness," I reply. "I'm demanding respect." The sheriff glances at his watch. "We need to wrap this up, ma'am." Sophia throws one final tantrum, yanking her suitcase over the threshold, sobbing dramatically for an audience that no longer exists. The sheriff guides her toward the elevator with professional detachment, and I close the door behind them, my heart lighter than it has been in years. The silence in my apartment is deafening, and yet it's the only sound that feels like victory. As the locksmith installs my new locks, I press play on my father's voicemail, his voice still heavy with disappointment. "You wouldn't sue your own family. We raised you and paid for your—" I stop the recording, adding it to the ever-growing folder. My attorney, Ms. Caldwell, reviews the documents carefully. "This is theft, plain and simple," she says, examining the car title. "They had no right to sell it." I don't need to say anything. My file speaks louder than my voice ever could. Miss Caldwell's pen taps against the evidence. "Most clients come in with scattered memories, maybe a few receipts. You've brought me a case that any paralegal would envy." I nod, unfazed. They never thought I'd fight back. She lifts the car title, the highlighter mark still visible. They still don't. Back at my parents' house, the confrontation is inevitable. My father stands by the mantel, red-faced, while my mother dabs at her eyes with a tissue. But I'm not here for their apologies. "You have 2 choices," I say, my voice ice cold. "Return $30,000 plus damages, or we proceed to court." My mother's tears flow freely, but they hold no power over me. "We don't have that kind of money," she pleads. "Then we'll see you in court." I watch them unravel as Ms. Caldwell makes her case, sharp as a blade. The unauthorized sale of the vehicle, the financial exploitation of your daughter, this is what's at stake. I stand tall, unwavering. Parents shouldn't steal from their children. "Where are we supposed to get $30,000? My father demands, his face twisted with frustration. "Not my problem," I say. The weight of the last few years falling into place. This is my turn. This is my moment. And I'm not giving it up. The house I grew up in feels hollow now. The place where my parents once built their life has been slowly hollowed out by years of giving in to Sophia's endless whims, remortgaging twice, just to keep up. The cracks in the walls feel more obvious now, and not just the ones you can see. I glance at them, my parents, eyes wide, mouths too tight, and I can't help but feel a flicker of satisfaction. The document I slide across the table is a final, unwavering move. "You have 30 days to make arrangements," I say, watching them recoil. My father opens his mouth, then pauses. The wheels turn in his head, looking for the right words, the ones that have worked for years. "Sweetheart, we can work this out, but not anymore." I close the legal documents with finality. my voice cutting through the tension. We already tried that approach. It didn't work out well for me. I stand up, leaving them there. I don't even glance back. For the first time in my life, the weight between my shoulder blades is gone, as if the invisible chains have finally snapped. I take a breath. Is it revenge to demand justice? The thought lingers as I reach the car, allowing myself a tiny, satisfied smile. They never thought I'd fight back. Well, they're about to learn that years of being dismissed and stolen from have made me something they never expected. A formidable opponent. The courthouse mirror reflects a version of me that's taller, stronger, steadier than I was 3 months ago. No trembling hands now, just control, precision. I straighten my blazer, calm and focused. Then I step into the hallway, the sound of my heels against the marble floors a rhythmic beat, every step deliberate, every movement calculated. At the end of the hall, I spot them. My mother, eyes puffy, her helplessness spilling out. My father slumped, worn down. Sophia, standing apart, scrolling through her phone, completely indifferent. They spot me. Mom rushes forward first, arms wide, her voice a desperate plea. Claire, sweetheart, we can still fix this. It's not too late. Her perfume invades the air, familiar and suffocating. Her words cut through the air like a thread tying me to the past. This isn't who we raised you to be. Dad steps up, his voice low, like a warning. Think about the reputation, Claire. What this will do to your mother's health. Is that what you want? The familiar pressure begins to build, the weight of obligation, the familiar guilt. For a split second, I'm 12 again, swallowing my pride as Sophia's presence swallows my achievements. But then, Sophia opens her mouth with her signature entitlement. You're destroying our family over a stupid car, she hisses. That's it. Something inside me snaps, the fog lifting. It's not about the car. It never was. It's about 29 years of you taking what wasn't yours, I say, the words ice cold but steady. This is no longer a battle over a car. This is about taking back everything they've taken from me. I turn toward the courtroom doors. My attorney touches my elbow, and I walk in, never once glancing at the family that never saw me for who I really was. In the courtroom, everything is clear. My attorney's presentation cuts through the silence like a razor. The first slide flashes on the wall. We sold your car. Sophia needed the money more. The words hang in the air, casual theft laid bare in 12 cold words. My father shifts uncomfortably in his seat. My mother stares at her hands. And Sophia? Her expression is a cocktail of disbelief and indignation. I'm the one betraying the family. The slideshow continues, bank statements showing $25,000 withdrawn right after the car sale. Social media posts, Sophia flaunting the life my car funded. Each new image feels like a punch, harder than the last. I watch my father pull at his collar, sweating now. My mother, once the manipulator, crumbles under the weight of what I've shown. Sophia glares, her face twisted with that familiar sense of superiority. But it's not enough this time. The judge's expression darkens as more evidence floods the screen, a detailed map of their exploitation. When the judge speaks, his voice is the blade I've been waiting for. The evidence is clear, he says, as if he's cutting through the last threads of their defense. And just like that, the world shifts. Karma, delivered with precision. The elevator crawls as I punch the button for the parking garage, my heart racing with a growing sense of dread. The moment the doors slide open, my worst fear is confirmed. The spot where my SUV should be, my SUV, my hard-earned independence, is empty. My stomach drops. I dial my parents, barely able to keep the panic out of my voice. Where is my car? I demand when my father answers. Now, Claire, don't overreact, he says, his tone dripping with that same patronizing calm that used to control me. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? I echo, pacing the concrete floor. Where is my car? We sold it, he responds flatly. No apology, no explanation. Sophia needed money to get back on her feet. The words hit like a punch. I stare at the phone, rage and disbelief bubbling up. You sold my car? I say, my voice shaking with controlled fury. You had no right. It's just a car, Claire, my mother interjects. Family is more important. My hands clench. It was my car. I worked for it. I earned it. My father cuts in, his voice calm but seething. We'll discuss this when you've calmed down, he says, hanging up before I can get another word out. I stand in my parking space, the anger building in waves. I storm back to the apartment, my mind racing with everything they've taken from me. All the years of undermining my achievements, of watching Sophia's every whim be catered to. I slam through the door. She's lounging on my couch again, like she owns the place. Where's the money for my car? I demand, eyes locked on her without flinching. She barely looks up from her phone. I needed things. I glance at the counter, my eyes landing on a bank statement. $25,000 withdrawn. Beside it, receipts from high-end boutiques and a spa membership, with Sophia's name written boldly across it. My car, my hard work, gone. At that moment, my parents walk in, as if they have any right to be here. You're being dramatic, my father says, waving his hand dismissively. You can buy another car. No, I say, my voice unnervingly calm. You sold my property without permission. You stole from me. My mother sighs, her tone cutting through the air. Family shares everything. Why are you being so selfish? The word stings, but it's no longer the weapon it once was. Get out, I say, my voice steady. All of you, now. Sophia gapes at me. After everything we've done for you? I stare her down, unflinching. That ends today. Leave, or I'll call the police and report my car as stolen. Her eyes widen, fury twisting her features. She stumbles back, mouth open, but I hold the door wide and step aside, letting them make the choice. They leave with their manipulations unanswered, their guilt hanging in the air. The silence that follows is my silence, the first true peace I've had in years. 3 weeks later, I drive past my childhood home, now covered with a for sale sign. A moving truck sits in the driveway, its doors hanging open, ready to swallow their entire existence. Through the open garage, I spot Sophia, her face tight, her reality finally catching up with her. For the first time, she has nowhere to hide, no one else to blame. I don't stop. I don't slow down. I turn the corner and drive straight ahead, towards my own new reality, where I'm no longer second best, no longer the person they could walk all over. My new SUV, a symbol of my hard-won independence, hums with confidence as I pull into my own driveway. The apartment is different now. It's not just mine. It's a reflection of who I've become. I trace the edge of the legal documents, my victory, my justice. I could frame them, but instead I tuck them away, closing the drawer. This chapter is over. I open my phone, scrolling through contacts, Mom, Dad, Sophia. I don't need them anymore. Delete, delete, delete. The weight that's haunted me since childhood evaporates with each tap. For the first time, I breathe freely, not with fear of disappointment, but with the certainty that I am enough, exactly as I am. I smile at the brass nameplate on my office door. Director of Marketing, Claire. The cool metal feels solid beneath my fingers. It's a badge of honor, one I earned on my own terms. Later, I sign papers for an investment property. I don't need their approval, their validation. I've built this foundation by myself. That night, My apartment hums with the sound of real friends celebrating my success, people who see me, who value me. To Claire, Xavier raises his glass, who taught us all what real strength looks like. Later, I sit at my favorite table in Riviera. As I savor my meal, the door opens. My parents walk in, and Sophia, trailing behind them, frozen for a split second when she spots me. Our eyes meet, and for the first time, I feel nothing. No anxiety, no second guessing, just calm detachment. I return to my meal, savoring every bite. I'm done. I drive along the coastal highway, my new SUV gliding effortlessly beneath me. My heart beats steadily as I whisper to the open road ahead. Some prices are worth paying for peace. I've learned, finally, that self-respect doesn't require approval from anyone else, not even family. Later, I spread travel brochures across my coffee table. Greece, New Zealand, Morocco. The world is wide open, and I'm ready to take it on, alone or with others who truly matter. The family I choose will be the one I deserve. The scratch of my pen against paper is the only sound in the apartment as I write the words that change everything. The woman I was has finally disappeared,